So I'm delighted to introduce Joao Peña. Joao, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Formerly a senior partner at Roland Berger and then an advisor to the partners at Roland Berger, president of Iberia for Carney, CEO of one of the largest banks in Portugal, an advisor to the board at EY, and now managing director of Arboris, an advisory firm to family offices. We've had the pleasure of working together for many years, Joao, and I think one of the things that makes you so remarkable is your ability to go into an organization and produce breakthroughs in performance where many times before people didn't think it was possible. And I'm not just talking incremental margin improvement. We're talking doubling profits in 6 to 12 months. So, Joao, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Why don't we, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about your own background and what shaped your own thinking, and then perhaps we can get into the nuts and bolts of what you feel it takes to produce great performance.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Mike. Mike, it's a pleasure to be with you. We've known each other for many years. I think the first 10 seconds that we met, we just clicked. And this click continues to get stronger and stronger over the years, in spite of not being together as we were coaching and giving classes together here in Lisbon. So, and this brings me to thanking you for the initiative. It's really a pleasure always to go back and think about, reflect about my career, my achievements at the time. And indeed, some years ago, and I think this is the most important component of it, of the career that you outlined. Some years ago, I was invited by the Carney Madrid partners, the Spanish guys, invited to relaunch the Lisbon office, which was plagued by years of declining revenues, rising losses, resulting from poor leadership, loss of top prospect client connections, and bad relations between leaders of the Lisbon and the Madrid offices. Negative image, poor visibility, shrinking, demotivated team. It was as bad as you could ever imagine. And I had spent some time in Carney, not very long, a few months in my career before that. So I knew and made friends with the Madrid partners, and one of them came back and said, listen, you have to take care of this. You are the only person we believe that can really take care of this at this moment. Carney was coming out of its separation from the large IT consulting firm that was its owner, and had done management buyback, actually. So it was looking for this development. So I think after what we spoke, Mike, I wanted to share with the people who would be hearing us some major points on leading performance breakthrough, inspired by my experience at Carney in Lisbon and at Carney in Madrid, because I was invited to take over as Presidente Carney, España y Portugal, which basically, you know what that means. You just look at some Netflix Colombian pictures, but I learned and developed these points that we're going to talk about over many years at Roland Berger. But I was not the Roland Berger number one. The number one was a high personality, different person. But I learned a lot from him, but basically from everything around me, and absorbing smart seminal books on leadership and consulting, which I'll be talking about in the end. Then at Carney, I had the opportunity to apply all this with the total freedom that is part of an office leader role, and later the Presidente role. I hope this will inspire everybody that is listening, as I was inspired every single day when I was working in Lisbon and then Madrid, achieving phenomenal results with the Carney teams.
I think that would be invaluable. Let's dive in, Joao. Where would you like to start? I mean, I know you've talked a lot to me about the power of ambition and how that really is an undercurrent.
It's a good point to start. Yeah, it's a very good point to start. Now, my understanding is that you really get nowhere without a vision and ambitious targets to attain that vision. This is even more so in consulting. It's true in life, in every aspect in life, but it's even more so in consulting. Consulting is demanding, it's highly competitive, and you really need to stretch everything to make yourself happy and the team happy with the achievements. So my vision was very clear from the outset. Kearney was number 5 in Portugal, number 3 or number 4 worldwide. And the vision would be that in 2 years' time, we would be number 2, very close to McKinsey. On my first day, I put the principles. There were no partners at the time in Lisbon, just myself. I put the principles in the meeting room and projected the chart with the last 5 years of revenues and that year's budget. It was low and it was flat. We were in September. We were heading for another slumpy year. I told them, are you kidding? Guys, are you kidding? We can do 30% of our budget. We have to do that, whatever it takes. We've got 48 hours to have a plan for this that we believe in and that we all commit to and make happen in 3 months. No one believed at that point. Lots of snickering around the room, eyes looking down. Here we go again, another crazy guy managing the office. But at the end of our second session, 48 hours later, I could feel the faith and the energy in the room. Really, they started to change. Open attitude. And they actually had done their homework for the 30% plus plan in 48 hours. And sure enough, we worked hard and we landed in December far ahead of our own targets. The momentum was launched from then on. So skepticism was completely gone. Everybody believed me and I believed in myself and I believed in my team. They were capable. The momentum was launched. We got all the office in and said, listen, this is the Christmas party in March. We doubled the sales versus the same period this year. Smiles all around, snicker, snicker, snicker. Strength, belief, eagerness all around. This was starting to be what I wanted and what we always need. A top, hungry, high-performing team, always striving for more with a big smile. And in March, we hit the target. And guess what? We doubled again in the next 6 months.
Amazing. So I have to ask you, forgive me for interrupting, but do you think that a lot when you start is just keeping that possibility alive? Because as you said, there were sniggers all around. No one else really believed it except you. So is that a major part, do you think, of starting that process of keeping alive a possibility when no one else actually buys into it?
Yeah, it's it's a very good point. It's absolutely critical, but it's impossible, at least in consulting. Probably in surgery or something like this, it's possible, but not in consulting. In consulting, you cannot do anything alone. You need a team. So you have to understand that the team, after years and years of suffering, the team was going home at 5 o'clock, feeling lousy, feeling sad because they were not really. Nobody likes to be an underperformer. And if you are an underperforming team living in an office where everybody's underperforming, It's a terrible feeling. So everybody was sad. So when we started to overperform, again, to your question, you have to stretch them. You have to guarantee that they start to build the self-confidence that is there in their hearts all the time. It's always been there. They are self-confident. They are very good students. They are very good consultants. So let's start to behave as good students and good consultants. So you need to take that out from their hearts, put it on the table, and make sure that in 48 hours, they have worked out with me a plan that then we overachieve. And then another plan, we overachieve again. And then the snickering stops. Smiling starts. Feeling good about oneself starts. And this is really what happened here. We had this Christmas party, and then the Christmas after that, when we were all just behind McKinsey. Everybody believed that we could beat McKinsey in a few years. I mean, in no market anybody beats McKinsey. They are the reference. Probably in Bain in Italy, there are stories about a few cases around the world where McKinsey did not have the number one position. But these people that were there with me, they believed. Yes, they believed. There was a lot of things going on to support this belief. It was not just only, working hard and working as a team. I'll talk about other things later on, but you'll see. But it was a very strong belief. So what happened is that coming from number 5 in 18 months, we passed Roland Berger and Bain, and we were number 3 in 18 months, 1.5 years. BCG was strong, 5 partners, and we were only 2, and ahead of us, and all the office knew one thing. It could take a year or 2 years, but not more. And we will make it to number 2. And then we go for McKinsey. They were already talking about McKinsey, and we still have BCG to pass. This was made, and we did pass BCG. We became number 2. And one of the reasons to pass BCG was that we were extremely aggressive in recruiting, not money-wise. We were selling a dream, a culture, an experience, an adventure. BCG couldn't give any of that. And that's how we snatched a lot of good people from BCG. And this helped us accelerate growth to that point. So at the end, I would say the vision becomes more than a dream. It gets stronger, and and you can almost taste being there, being in the middle of the Vision Island. Okay. So that's what I wanted. I hope I've answered your ambition question.
You have, absolutely. And you clearly believe in the talents that you have around you, but also you have to make some tough decisions, I guess. Can you tell me a little bit more about how do you go about recognizing talent and then developing that talent so that they have both that self-belief and that capability to win?
It's a myriad, Mike, it's a myriad of little things. People often believe that the answer to your question comes from 2 or 3 very, powerful things. I will be a very charismatic leader. I'll have a strong vision and this and that. Not that that's not important, but it is much too simple to think about it in that way. It is very complex because it takes a lot of small things. And especially, it takes a lot of people caring. People caring, I think, is probably the most important. And it's very rare that you hear a consulting partner answer your question with people caring. It is, in fact, in consulting, it's all about the team. And in top management consulting, in strategy consulting, it's even more. And to grow as we did, we had to take care of people. As I was saying, we had to motivate our people and hire madly at every level. Unfortunately, we also had to dismiss structurally low performers, people who we knew would not make it, who were dragging back the teams, and we needed to help them find a solution for their career outside. And more often than not, we placed them in clients in very good positions, and still today they are very good friends, and I know where they are. And if I need something from that company, I know that I can call them and they will help. So it's really that dismissal of structural low performance does not have to be something aggressive, and can at the end of the day, probably people will feel sad because they're leaving the adventure, the great team, etc. They love it. But a year from that moment, they will recognize that it was much better for them, and they are very happy where they are. So I felt happier to, recruiting was also very important. I felt happier to get a good new manager from BCG or Bain on board than getting €1 million assignment. Really. And, I'm very, I don't hide my enthusiasm at all. On the contrary. So, when I play tennis, I cry a lot when I go to good points and all this kind of thing. But so my yes cries in the office became famous. Much more when we got the letter, the guy calling saying, yeah, I accept your proposal, more than we received the email from the client with the signature accepting the €1 million proposal. So I was really completely convinced that if you have a great team, everything happens after that. Everything begins with a great team. So what did we look for in these people? We looked for shiny eyes and shiny minds. Something that's innate, that's structural to a personality. My recruiting interview, and we did several rounds of interview, like any consulting company. And when a candidate came to me, he had already done 4 rounds. And so what am I going to ask him? I didn't have a couch, but it was like having a couch. There was psychoanalysis to the candidate, your mother, your father, your cousins, all the kind of even difficult questions. Have you ever kissed a man in your life, and this kind of thing? And he said yes. Okay, so this is your sexual orientation. Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, good. You came out. Now we all know, and we're happy to have you. Anyway, whatever. Enough of that. Enough of the cases, enough of the brain teasers. I wanted to know the person as best in a limited time that we have, always. So I got every candidate in very open conversations about everything. I was looking for brightness. I was looking for frankness. I was looking for openness and transparency. I was looking for charm, being captivating. And this, if he met all these psychological criteria, he would get a yes from me. And most of the time he got a yes, because the people who did the 4 rounds already knew and had asked him a lot of questions around that. So sometimes it's important to say the following. Recruiting was so important because the office was very small when I started. And when I left, it was 4 times or 5 times larger. So recruiting was something very, very time consuming for everybody in the office. And and everyone knew it was very important. So in many occasions, I wanted to tell you, I took the liberty of inviting a candidate out for dinner, not lunch. Lunch is work. Dinner. Let's go for dinner. Someplace calm, someplace, no frills. No, it's not like a BCG or sorry, saying so much about the other guys. It's not like the 3 Michelin star kind of thing. No, it's what in Portugal we call taberna. Okay, 15 euros a person, including coffee. So this is where we went calmly, and so he could feel himself. He didn't feel coerced in any way, and I just wanted to charm him over or her over, give the extra push needed, so he would drop the position and join the crazy up and coming ex-underdogs that we were. And it worked. I did about wonderful. 7 dinners like this, and it worked. Yeah.
Well, help me understand, because on the one hand, you have to put forward a vision, which takes some ego, Joao. You have to put a stake in the sand when everyone else, frankly, is skeptical at best. And on the other hand, you deeply care for everybody, whether it's the people who aren't going to make it long term or those who you see are. So can you tell me a little bit more about how do you manage, do you even think about how you manage your ego in one particular situation? Or is that just something that just where you're able to modulate, shall we say, your status and your ego naturally?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I just added. I just wanted to add a point to the previous one, which is something that probably not even you know, Mike. We never talked about this. Is that we snatched all the opportunities to create a feel-good climate and pride, which is enormous difference from the loser underdog mentality I found. One thing we did was enter this national competition for Best Company to Work For award. It was a big thing in Portugal at the time. So for the banks, for industry, for public, private companies, everybody went in. Hundreds of all kinds of companies competed. First year, we reached overall top 10 countrywide, and best consulting company ahead of McKinsey, BCG, Roland Berger. Second year, we made number 2 nationwide, just behind BCP, the large Portuguese bank. And in the third year, we had all the team on magazine covers because we were elected the best company to work for in Portugal. 25 guys and gals, and it was everybody felt so proud, and this worked wonders in the office, and recruiting just boomed. We had a shower of top candidates we could never have imagined. How much did it cost, money-wise? Nil. So you have to be very bright in the way that you invest in the initiatives. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from everybody to do this, but it was, the best investment we ever made. Now, to the ego. Top strategy, I think top strategy consultants typically are people who are used to the best in everything and see themselves as the best in everything. I am the best in everything, whatever I do. I'm the best tennis player. I'm the best consultant. I'm the best love. This is great to a point. It easily leads to tunnel vision, to arrogance, and to poor relationship skills. Now, this is a cultural pattern at many consulting firms. I was thinking of one with a sort of Scottish name. As a top consulting senior professional, you need to know your worth and fight for your beliefs, but, and this is B-U-T in capital letters, but Be humble, be self-confident enough to recognize that you need your people to be better than you. People be better than me, but I'm the boss. This doesn't make any sense. This seems weird, but it is, if you think about it seriously, the ultimate team building goal in top management consulting. By far, nothing compares to this. In the end, you have to be the worst guy in your team to be the best leader, because you've managed to make them all better than you. It is not a paradox. Then you have to gain respect from them and behave like a true leader should. Because, of course, they look at you as a leader, so you can't go around crawling in the office. You have to stand tall in every way. And you have to be open, sincere, ambitious, bold, focusing on each team member's growth, and be aggressive in the right way to get the best out of it. So I think these are the key aspects about the key thing about managing the ego is leave your ego at home or leave your ego in the car or something, but don't bring it with you.
Oh, very interesting. And what about then the openness that you brought to the culture? You know, because there's always this dynamic, like you said, about strategy consultants like to win. They like to be the best. There's always that element of competition. So how did you balance the tension between people competing with each other and the openness that you need to really get the best out of any collaboration?
It's a little bit people competing against each other in a constructive manner is what makes a great football team. They're all, you have two right, you have four central defenses, you have one center back, right back, you have 7 midfielders, you only need 3, and these 7 are competing for the 3 positions every day, every match, every week. Are they adversaries? No, they are not adversaries. They are colleagues. They are companions. They feel and live the game as much in the bench as they do in the pitch. And it's the same thing here. We need to recognize that there is space for internal healthy competition at all levels, and make everyone recognize that new team members and even client team members must be stimulated to actively participate with challenging ideas, new bold initiatives. Because the problem with the lack, with closing the culture, will building up the walls. I'm sounding like Roger Waters now. Anyway, but building up the walls. But it's very true. Or everything on that album is absolutely spot on, and we have to take the walls down. And if people start to create any kind of obstacles to the active participation, the active bringing up of ideas. I mean, we're in a room with a team of 10. We're discussing a proposal that we're delivering tomorrow of 2.5 million euros. And a business analyst who's been there for a year, who's 24 or 25, seems to have something to say. It's very easy to tell him not to let him know that it's not appropriate for a business analyst to speak in front of 2 partners and 3 principals and whatever. No, it's the other way around. What I've learned is that business analysts and the younger people and sometimes people who we just invite for the meeting who have nothing to do with the 3 weeks we spent working on the proposal. And they bring fresh ideas. They bring a different perspective. and they bring a ton of potentially rich things, and sometimes they bring you the truth. The proposal is pretty lousy. So ask the client for another week, get back to square one, and start again. It's better than losing 2.5 million. So this goes to my point. Business development is not in consulting the partner's work. It is the team's work. And the new assignment is felt by each member of that team and by each member of the office, by the way, as a victory, but not any victory, his victory. His victory. Even my secretary, it was her victory. She went home so happy, as if she her victory. And this is what we're looking for. All the partners made sure that that was the way the feeling had to go within the teams and the office, and celebrating success was just so important. So we went off, we drank Moet, we went all out for dinner, we went on team events, and by the way, all this never on weekends, always weekdays. So we want to take a day off for a retreat, fine, let's do it Wednesday. But it's not Saturday or Sunday. Respect for weekends with the family is so low in consulting that we made a point of drawing a hard line there. This work-life balance is part of a culture of happiness, essential to top-level performance. I confess I did not apply this myself. I work 10 to 12 hours on weekends in about 16
not just weekdays, right?
On weekdays. But, Mike, the thing is, I did this because I'm an assumed workaholic. I take pleasure out of this more than watching TV more than watching TV or whatever. And it does not mean others are, and they should not see me as such. So nobody knew I was working those hours during the weekend. Everybody thought I was, somewhere like they were, but I was working. But I didn't want anybody to know. Only the CFO of Etikani Iberia knew, because he also did the same. And so we did the numbers, the office numbers on the weekends and things like this. So this is, I hope this answers your question regarding how you can sort of build an open, stimulating culture and bringing the walls down.
It does, absolutely. And you've mentioned about the team and how vital that team is. You have to start with that great team. Can you tell us a little bit about building the brand outside of the firm itself? So
yes,
how else did you go about doing it?
I must tell you, although my background is civil engineering, at heart, I am a marketing man. And this is why when I finished my MBA, I refused to go to McKinsey. I refused to proposal for banks. Where did I go? I went to Mars Inc. Beautiful, beautiful firm. I met John and Forrest, the owners at the time. Now I think they are both dead. Not Forrest. But anyway, one of the largest and richest family companies in the world, and I was marketing responsible for chocolates. So Mars, Twix, M&M, Snickers, Bounty, Galaxy also. We had Galaxy in Portugal for some time. And I loved marketing. And this is something that I really had a big kick. So when I got to the brands, the Kearney brand was the disgrace when I stepped in. We had to build credibility. We had to build awareness. And we had to build status in the market for the brand. So I did 4 things, I would say, that I would want to share with you. First, I hired the top PR team in Portugal. Did not pay much because I sold them the vision that and no other strategy consultant in the market was really doing any kind of significant PR work with the boldness that we wanted to do. So I wanted to be on television at least once a month, being interviewed for an hour. And that's what happened. I want to be on the cover of the newspapers for 6 months, at least, to really build up the brand. They were, so these guys were excited and jumped in, great help giving us personal and content media exposure. Point number 2, I hired 2 very visible senior advisors. One was a former European commissioner named António Vitorino, Portugal's greatest power broker of his day. And also the former ambassador Leonardo Matias. And they helped us immensely to get connections. We leveraged on their personal equity to get prospect client meetings, and often they would come along with us to the meetings, and this made an enormous difference. The third ingredient, I would say, is the office. No, João, I want to talk about the brand. Don't talk to me about the office. Listen, Mike, just listen. For the brand, you need to have an impactful office. Clients like to go and you want to host them with pride. We moved from a crappy place in East Lisbon, half an hour from the glamour business district, to the gorgeous best floor with a veranda all around the building, where in the building where the Prime Minister lived. So we had a lot of security as well. It's free of charge. More status, impossible. Beautiful building, right in the Praça Marquês de Pombal, and with the Prime Minister living there, and we would say hello to the Prime Minister in the morning. He would come in, come out. Interior design, fascinating, beautiful, modern, functional. The team thought that we would never get corporate to sign on move. Another thing that was part of the vision, but I never told them. I knew we had to move out of the crappy office. And they said, no. We're not making money. Corporate will never sign on such an expense and such an investment. But when we started to make money, truly, and we were not making money for Portugal, we were occupying about 60% of the Madrid office consulting team in Portugal, working in projects in Lisbon. So we were making money for Madrid, we were making money for Lisbon, we were making money for Kearney. We deserved the office move, and we did the office move. The team the team felt so proud when Paulo de Sina, who was the Kearney president worldwide, came expressly from Chicago to inaugurate the office for the office opening. He said, "The floors are so beautiful. I'm going to take my shoes off before I get into the office." So he gets his shoes off. And he gets into the office and everybody claps and hurrah and everything. And the next day we have something I'll talk about next, which is a business breakfast, which was for the inauguration for the clients, with Paulo de Sina as the keynote speaker. You can ask, why did the A.T. Kearney president worldwide come from Chicago to opening a small office in Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal? Well, why did he come? It's a good question. Because I nagged him like hell. But for 6 months, I said, listen, it's going to be that day. Paul, you got to come. And the guy below him, the president Europe, the guy below him, the president Iberia. So they were all nagged to be there. Then we set up a lot of events. At the top were the Kearney Business Breakfasts. Every month we had a board level client and prospect members for breakfast in our office. We invited a top guest speaker, I mean, a minister, president of a bank, leader of the opposition. The current prime minister in Portugal, António Costa, went there when he was the opposition leader. Would come over. So these speakers would come over and speak half an hour, and another half an hour was Q&A. We could not say no to people who asked to come. So the room, although large, was always packed with people, having breakfast, standing, orange juice all over their ties. This worked, but this worked. Incredible. A neighbor from the building once told me, these guys at Kearney have 80% of the GDP once a month at breakfast time. Have you seen this? This worked because of a rule, Mike. We had a very special rule. No press in the room, and nothing said leaves the room ever. So they were really tricky and sexy meetings because the questions were extremely provocative. The answers were extremely transparent. So nobody wanted to miss a breakfast. And nobody was doing anything like this. So the business breakfasts, the new office, the senior advisors, and the PR team. The 4 key ingredients to build up a new Kearney brand.
Wonderful. Great, Joao. Thank you. And what would you say if you now were advising somebody in having to turn around performance today? What advice might you give them, depending if they're new to the firm or not so new? What would you say?
Yes, Mike. It's quite different if they are new to the firm. If they are an inbred promoted office leader, or if it is an outside office leader like I was. If it's an inbred office leader, I think it's harder. It's harder because he, on top of everything I did, that person, he or she, that person has to show that some of the things that she was saying, which was part of the slumpiness of performance, actually she didn't believe in them. Otherwise, I mean, why is she being promoted if she's part of a slumpy team? So if she's being promoted part of a slumpy team, it's because people above believe that she is not really slumpy. So she was just going on along. So suddenly she needs to emerge as a different flower. So you saw me as a cactus. Now, hey, I'm a rose. So this is very hard, very, very hard. I saw this happen a couple of times in Madrid, for instance, in other countries in Kearney, because I was on the Europe, Middle East and Africa board as president of Iberia. So I had a lot of visibility of what was happening across this region in Kearney. So the advice I could give is to somebody who would be picked like this is, help me is that person to tell her boss, his boss, to go there and explain to the team why I was chosen. Explain to them, okay? Why? Because this and this and this, okay? And then I will give them my perspective on not what I was chosen, but how we are going to move forward. So then you have all this. So it's very, very important that that we do not leave out the levels above ourselves, because the levels above ourselves are extraordinarily important for our understanding of how we are doing, to coach us, because normally they are people with a lot of white hair. I had the most marvelous coach called Paul Manuel. He was the most marvelous coach, a true British gentleman, and he helped me enormously. And if I was coming from the inside, Paul would do exactly as I told you. He'd get the team all in the room and said, "I chose Joao here. I know he's part of the slumpy team of partners, but I believe he can do better, and he's different from the rest," and explain why, etc., and start to give me some credibility as office leader.
That's very, very valuable, Joao. Thank you. So, Joao, I can't thank you enough for just investing your thoughts, your experience in us. Thank you so much. I hope that we might be able to invite you for a second masterclass in the future on client development and business development. But for now, Joao, thank you so very much for investing this time. We really appreciate it.
Okay, so I'll leave my favorite books for the next masterclass. That's a teaser for you.
Oh,
No. Now they're all. And my 3 seminal key books that any consultant who aspires to a career in top management consulting must not read, but memorize.
Look forward to that till the next time. Joao,
Okay.
thanks so very much again. Wonderful to
Mike,
see you.
it was my pleasure to be with you again. And I hope that for those who are listening, this has been clear, insightful, and not too vulgar.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Thanks so much, Joao. All the very best to you.
Thank you.